All right, guys, I just wanted to send another quick video of kind of an update. It seems like there are several students who are still struggling with just understanding the algebra tiles and how to work with them on a expression mat like this. So just again, a kind of review. So if you already know, you can skip this video. However, I would encourage everyone to watch it one more time just as kind of a brief review, because it is going to keep building on it every single day. So if we're not understanding the first 2 days, then we want to make sure that we get it before the third and fourth day. So first and foremost, this is our expression mat. Our expression mat has two sides. It has a positive side and a negative side, or a plus side and a subtraction side. And that's the more important, not to remember just that this is positive and this is negative, but this is plus, this is minus. So anything that's in this bottom box needs to have a subtraction sign in front of it. Anything that's in this top box should have a plus sign in front of it, unless it's obviously the very first term. Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to again briefly review these. This is an x squared, not an x, not 2x, it's x squared. This also means that there's only one of these. There's one x squared. If I have two of them, it'll look like this. And then of course we can write 2 and then x squared. But this number, this exponent, doesn't change how many of these are. This exponent only tells you which shape this is. Okay, so that's number one. We have y's, we have y squared, we have a y, we have an xy, a 1, and an x, right? So let's say that we have something that looks like this, and it tells you to write an expression, because this was one of the questions, or similar to a question that was on the assignment earlier today. And all it said was, write the expression out. Again, this top part is plus. Yes, these are still positive numbers, but this top part is plus. So all of these things up here are going to be added with each other. So let's start off with these two. These two go together because they are the same thing. So this is a 2x squared, because there's 2x squared. Okay, let's move to this one. There's only one y squared. Again, it's in the top section, so it's going to be plus y squared. And then there's a plus 1 there. Plus 1. This bottom, this whole section down here is in the subtraction section. Everyone keeps missing this, or a lot of people keep missing this. So for each one of these three, there should be a subtraction sign in front of each of these, because it's in the bottom portion, which tells us they are being subtracted. So we are subtracting a y. We are subtracting an xy. And we are subtracting an x. So this would be my answer if all it did was tell me to express it right now, right? What else we need to remember is if these are different colors. So for instance, on your pictures, for instance, let me pull this up. For this question right here that was on today's lesson, notice there's shaded ones and non-shaded ones. The shaded ones are positive. The non-shaded ones are negative. It was in one of the instructions earlier yesterday, I believe. So this one's a positive. Everything else on here is negative. This one, and this one is a positive. Everything else on here is negative. Okay? So if there is a negative in the bottom, that means there's two subtraction signs, because there's already a subtraction sign right here, and this is also a negative 1, and this one's a negative 1. So if I'm writing this out, I have my positive x at the top plus my 2 negative x's, so I'm adding to that my 2 negative x's. Again, it's being added because it's in this top part with the addition sign, but it's a negative because both of these are white. Then I'm going to also add to that my negative 2, because I have negative 1 and negative 1, so I have a negative 2. And then down here, I'm going to subtract, and then I have two negative 1s, so I'm going to subtract a negative 2. This is what it would look like before we did any of our rules. Now, obviously, in this lesson, it tells you to use the tools, build a model, and then simplify the expression by removing as much as you can without changing the values. So this is everything before we simplify it. Once I simplify it, then I can start moving things around. Now, remember, what am I allowed to do to simplify it? I'm allowed to flip these two up. However, when I flip them up here, they change colors. So now this one's shaded in. There we go. And now we got another one that's shaded in. So these are no longer down here. These are gone. Everything's at the top. That's one of my rules that we talked about in the first video. My second rule is if they have opposite ones, right? So a positive and a negative cancel each other out. This positive and this negative cancel each other out. This positive, this negative cancels each other out. So once I've followed both of my rules here, I only have this guy left. This guy is a negative x, which means my answer for this first problem, I've simplified everything in this problem down to negative x. And so on and so on. Okay? So let's look back over at this page. So again, I'm going to build out a couple things. Well, here, let me do this. I'm going to build out a couple things, right? So let's say that I put this here, and this here, and then this here, and this here, and then okay, so let's say I have a problem like this. So again, first and foremost, if it tells you just write the expression, then you're literally just writing what you see, right? So if I want to write this out, let me start with my x squared. I only have 1x squared in the top, and I have 1 down here, but it's subtracting, and it's a negative. So I'm going to be subtracting a negative x squared. Notice, that's both of these. 1 positive, that's at the top being added, 1 negative, that's at the bottom being subtracted. Now let's do our y squareds, right? So I have 1y squared at the top, that's positive, and I have 1y squared at the bottom that's negative, or that's positive, but that's being subtracted. So again, it's being subtracted. It's not a negative, it's a positive, but it's still being subtracted because it's at the bottom of this expression map. Then I have these two y squared, or these two y's that are also at the bottom, so they are going to be subtracted. Sorry, 2y. I have this 1 down here that's being subtracted, so let's do a minus 1. I have these 3 up here that are being added, so we'll put plus 3. And then I have this one down here that is just an xy by itself. And it's positive because it's being added, right? So that's it. If I wanted to write all of that out, that's what I would be doing, right? I want to simplify this though. So let's simplify it. First step in simplifying is, do I have any that are opposites? Well, these are all positives up here, so no opposites. These are all down here. What I need to do is I need to flip them. So I need to move this one up here and change its sign. Move this one up here, change its sign. Move this one up here, change its sign. Move, change, move, change. Now I can write what I have left. What I have left is 2x squares. I have 3, well, these two will cancel each other out. So I have 2 1s. These two are opposites, so they'll cancel each other out. And I have 1xy. And then I have 2 negative y's, which I can either write with the subtraction sign, or if I want to put plus a negative, remember you would want to put those parentheses around it. Hopefully this gives you a little bit more help. Again, if you are still struggling with this and you need more help, please contact me so that way we can set up a meeting to get you that help.